So do you think overlanding has reached its peak? Hi everybody, I'm Rob and this is Stormcore Overland. We talk about going on adventures, road tripping, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. Now in this week's episode, I want to talk about a subject that I've heard several other people talk about. I know Overland Journal podcast has talked about this. I know All Things Overland with Fletcher has talked about this. And it's whether or not overlanding has peaked or not. Peaked in popularity. So first, we're going to start with me sharing my thoughts on it. Sorry, there's stuff going on. I got distracted. We're going to start with my thoughts on whether it's actually peaked or not. And then we're going to talk about, is that a good thing? Or I guess the pros and cons of overland kind of reaching its peak. So first, we'll start with my thoughts. There has been a huge growth in overlanding. In the States, overlanding didn't really start getting popular until late 20-teens. I know I was into it before that. I didn't have an overland rig, but I loved the idea of it. I loved to go camping. I really didn't do a whole lot of off-road stuff. That really wasn't me. Because to me, where I grew up, off-road stuff was going out and going mudding. And that wasn't my idea of a good time. It was people going out, tearing stuff up, breaking things. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. I hadn't seen a lot of the more like Moab stuff and the idea of how much. This is part of the problem. I grew up in Texas, where everything is private land. I didn't even know that dispersed camping was a thing. Anytime I went camping growing up, it was we go here, we go to the campsite we're assigned. The idea that you could go and drive down a remote, road or trail and just find a spot to camp wherever you felt like or wherever it looked good and didn't have someone else camping 10 feet next to you, that was a whole new concept to me. That was really cool to learn about. Actually, I started learning about it, and I'm trying to think. I started learning about it early 20-teens when I was still stationed up in Alaska. Sorry, excuse me. I actually road tripped when I moved. I drove from Fairbanks, Alaska down to Oklahoma City. That took a long time. It was an overland trip. I mean, I had a Jeep Liberty. It's not an overland vehicle, really. It's not what you would think of as an overland vehicle. I took highways the whole way. But in a lot of ways, it was my first overland trip because I didn't always have a set destination. I went and explored different things. I tried to, check out local restaurants and local culture in different states I was going through. I didn't do any real off-roading because I was trying to get somewhere and I didn't know what I was doing, and I had never heard of Gaia or Onyx. I didn't have all these resources that we have now. But like I said, it was a thing that was out there, but it really started taking off probably 2015, 2016, started rocking it up, and then COVID hit. And man, do we all know, when COVID hit, everybody went outside. You couldn't go do the things you normally wanted to do. So you went outside because that was all you could do. And all of a sudden, RVs were sold out. Kayaks were sold out. Oh, that was the other bad thing. Me and my wife started to get into kayaking right before COVID, and then COVID hit and couldn't find a kayak to save your life. But everyone started going outdoors, and that led to a massive jump in popularity in overlanding. So basically, if you look at a chart, and I'm going to try to put one like right here. You look at a chart in like Google searches of like the term overlanding or overland or stuff like that, you'll see that it starts off pretty flat, it starts growing, and then there's a massive jump right about the time COVID starts. And then it kind of does a little bubble. And we're starting to see that COVID bubble drop off a little bit. But I think that's all it was. I think it was a bubble. If you take out the COVID bump in the chart and still look at that growth trend that we had pre-COVID, we're still pretty much on that trajectory. I personally think overlanding is still growing. yes, we're going to see a bit of a downturn with COVID finally wearing off and everybody's starting to go back to what they used to do before. But we're still growing. And I think that's a good thing. Yes, there are some downsides to this, and we'll get to that. We had a little get together with my local overland group, OKC Overland. Look us up on Beer Hall. And I kind of was asking everybody, I'm like, what do you think? Do you think overlanding's peaked? And a lot of different ideas, but everyone said almost the exact same comment, and I will share it with you in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and move from my thoughts of, and like I said, my thoughts are I don't really think it's peaked. I think we saw a COVID bubble that has kind of burst, but I think the trajectory is still going up in popularity for overlanding. So next we're going to talk about, we'll talk about the cons of it not peaking. So one second. So some of the downsides. When I asked everybody at our little meetup, do you think overland's peaked? Pretty much every single person there said, I hope so. And I get it, and they were being funny. They don't really hope that overlanding gets less popular and all that. But the sentiment they were trying to express is, man, some places get really crowded. You can't go to a lot of the cool places anymore. Either there's just so many people, or there's so much trash because people can't pick up after themselves. It's just the same people. There's so many people trying to go to all the cool places, and it's causing a problem. And it's hard to go places. It takes a lot of the fun out of it. So I get that, but there's a lot of good things about COVID. I mean, not COVID. Oh my God, there are a lot of good things about overlanding not having reached its peak. I think the main thing is the more popular it gets, the more interesting places we're going to find, and we can get everybody to spread out. Not everyone has to go do Imogene Trail. Not everybody has to go Black Bear Pass every Saturday in July. We will start learning all these other cool places to go. I mean, everyone's heard of Moab. Everybody's heard of all these places in Colorado. I mean, like I said, I've been into this for almost a decade, and I just started hearing about like the Owyhees up in Idaho. That sounds amazing. There's more cool stuff out there that we don't really explore, and we need to get the word out. Some people maybe need to stop hiding their secret places for fear, and I understand why they are. You're scared it's going to get shut down. You're scared it's going to get overrun. But we can't keep sending everybody the same couple of spots. We need to spread the love out a little bit, and it'll make it better for everybody. The other good thing with the continued popularity of overlanding is the more people there are, the bigger a market we are, the better gear we're going to get. I mean, we've seen all kinds of jumps and changes and improvements in overland gear, whether it be, solar generators and fridges and diesel heaters. They have changed and gotten so much better and cheaper and smaller and lighter just in the last 2-3 years because of the marketplace, because there are that many more people willing to spend money on it. So the more of us there are, the more companies are going to put more time and money in developing better products for us. No, overlanding is not just about the gear, obviously. I get that. I drive a 2006 4Runner. I don't have fancy new stuff. But better gear is still better sometimes. And I like that. I want that innovation. And then finally, well, okay, not finally. I got two more. The more people that get into this, the more we can spread the word and set a good example. This weekend coming up, my local overland group, we have a guy, Ben, I've mentioned him in videos before. He's leading a newbie run on a very easy kind of little loop we have here in Oklahoma called the Sugar Creek Loop. But it's to get new people out, show them how to do things right, show them how to stay on trail, not tear stuff up, how to use their radios. We're going to talk about recovery gear a little bit, talk about trail etiquette. Try to be that good example. And the more of us there are out there doing the right thing, the more it's going to spread. We all joke, At least here, everybody jokes about how side-by-sides are ruining everything, getting everything shut down. And to some degree that might be true, but there's a lot of them because side-by-sides are cheap and they can do a lot and they're a lot of fun. But the more people we have out doing things the right way and doing things like trail cleanups and joining organizations like Tread Lightly and other stuff like that, the more that things will get better for everyone. And we can fight back on some of the trail closures and other public land closures. We need those people to make that happen. I had another point, and I think I mixed it in there. The more people we have, the more we can get involved in things like Tread Lightly, in things like the Blue Ribbon Coalition to try to get trails not shut down. We need those people. We need those numbers. We need to be the shining beacon of the darkness of this is the right way to do things. And this is how we can share the trail and share the public land with other people. This is how we're going to not get stuff shut down. I know there was a big post the other day on Facebook talking about a bunch of the trails in Arkansas. Lots of trails were shut down on the new NVUM that came out. Man, the more people we have, the more popular overlanding is, the more we can push back on these things. The more we can say, hey, we're the ones doing it right. Hey, this is why we should have access to this stuff. So at the end of the day, overlanding being popular is a good thing. You should be happy that people are out there enjoying the thing you enjoy. Yes, some places get crowded, and there's ways we can address that. Like I said, we've got to get out and start exploring the other places, not being lazy with our trip planning and just, oh, I'm going to go to the Ozarks again. Oh, I'm going to the Ouachitas again. Oh, I'm going to go to Moab again. We got to get out there and explore. There's neat stuff. You know, there's giant 75-foot sand dunes here in Oklahoma. I mean, oh my God, who would have thought that? I wouldn't. I mean, I lived here years before I found that out. Guess what I need to go see? I need to go check out these giant 75-foot sand dunes that you can drive on and have campsites at. There's cool shit in every state. Go out, find it. You don't need to drive to the same little pocket of the country to go find cool stuff. So the more we spread out, the more we can show people the right way to do things, the better it will be for everybody. The better products we'll get from manufacturers because there'll be a bigger market for them to sell these things. I'm going to start wrapping this up because I'm just starting to rant at this point. But I don't think we've peaked. I think it's going to continue to grow because it's fun. I think there's a lot of people out there who, I'm going to get a little woo-woo for a second. I think there's a lot of people who are trapped in environments that they're not happy with and they don't know why. And they need to get outside. They need to disconnect. They need to get out in the woods. They need to touch grass, as the kids like to say. They need to get away from their cell phone signal for a little bit. I think it is good for society for them to get out and get away from all that and just kind of reset. I want this for everyone. I want everyone to have a chance to come out and experience being in nature. I'm sounding a little hippie, sorry, but it's true. I want people to get out. I want even like your most urban city dwelling person, you know, that doesn't even drive because they live in New York and they don't have to drive because everything's walkable. I want them to have the chance to come out, be in the woods, have a drink over a campfire, you know, walk around and see nature, wake up because there's a deer in their campsite, whatever it is. Reconnect to our roots. We're not made to be trapped in cities. We're made to be outside. I can tell this because it's the first pretty day we've had since the new year. And I came out to try to film where I normally film. And it took me forever to find a spot because there's people out everywhere because the weather's gorgeous and everyone wants to be outside. You have a deep, burning desire to be outside. So be excited that everyone else does too. Let's do this. We're all in this together. Overlanding any popular is a good thing. I'm happy y'all are out there. I'm going to do everything I can to encourage other people to get out. I'm going to try to teach them how to do it. Whatever I can do. If you're watching this and you want to try overlanding or camping or just whatever, just getting outside. If you want to do this and you don't know how to get started, send me a message. I'll do everything I can. Even if you're not, if you're close, if you're like in the state of Oklahoma or even a surrounding state, look us up on Facebook, OKC Overland. We will help you out. I will organize a trip to take you on if I have to. We will get it figured out. And if you're not close, send me a message. I'll help you figure it out. We'll find someone to connect you to. We'll help you figure it out. You don't need fancy stuff. You don't even need a four-wheel drive. I'm sorry. I know that's part of what we think of overlanding, but you don't need a rooftop tent. You don't need a fridge. You don't need solar panels. You don't need a scuttle. You don't need a drone. I know. I like those things. I have most of those things, and they're fun, and they might make the experience better, but you don't need them. You can get by with a $20 Walmart tent and a sleeping bag and a leftover, half of a Subway sandwich if you need to. The important thing is getting out. Go out, explore, connect with your past, connect with what you're supposed to be doing. Sorry, kind of went on a tangent here. It's all right, though. If you're watching this on YouTube, just realize we also release the audio as a podcast. You can find it wherever good podcasts are found. Just search Stormcrow Overland. If you are listening to this as a podcast, just know we also release the video on YouTube. The same thing, just search Stormcrow Overland. You can also find us on Instagram at Stormcrow Overland. And finally, if you want, you can send me an email, stormcrowoverland@gmail.com. On any of those platforms, I would greatly appreciate a like, comment, follow, subscribe, anything. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think overlanding's peaked? Do you think there's too many of us already? Are you one of the people going, man, I hope it's peaked? Or are you one of those people that are glad that people are connecting to what's inside of them and getting out there? Let me know. No wrong answer. I'm not saying if you hope that everybody quits so you can have all the campsites to yourself, I'd still love to hear from you. You're not wrong. That's your opinion. Really all I have for you this week. Sorry if this got a little rambly, ranty. I guess I just had some stuff I felt like getting out. Yeah. Just remember, sometimes you have to go out and get lost. Maybe with a lot of other overlanders before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.